My neighbor's off-leash dog attacks and injures my dog, my sister, and myself. Now she's trying to sue me, but we're the ones with $29K in medical bills. Sorry for the long post, but I'm trying to be detailed. We live in the city limits of Wake County, Raleigh, NC, where there are strict leash laws. Our new neighbors moved in next door about 6 months ago and have 2 large Labradors who are let out the back door into the open yards each day and night. One of their dogs is very sweet and well-behaved, while the other is rather aggressive and will charge at people and other dogs. We have asked them multiple times to walk their dogs on leashes and explained the city leash laws of our state and county, but they refuse to keep them on leashes. 2 months ago, one of their labs charged at myself and my small beagle from across the yard, and the dog owner just sat there and watched as I tried to fight off her dog while picking up my beagle. The dog bit my arm enough to draw blood, and I kicked her dog to get it to stop and back off from its attack. The owner went into a rage over me kicking her dog, and the next day she filed a complaint against me with our HOA. That backfired because the HOA contacted me for my side of the story and ended up charging the neighbor a $250 violation of the HOA agreement fee. I didn't file an animal control report because my bite wasn't that bad, and I thought the HOA fine would set them straight. Also, it's not the dog's fault. Her owner is an idiot. They continue to let their dogs run free, and we have multiple videos of them letting their dogs run free, and of the aggressive dog running onto our porch and throwing her body against our glass door, trying to get at our dogs inside our house. Last month, I confronted our neighbor with the multiple videos and told her she needed to walk them on leashes, and we were no longer willing to be afraid to use our back porch or walk our dogs anymore. I told her this was the last time we'd be nicely asking her, and next time we'd call animal control. Fast forward to 6 days ago, when I woke up to the sound of one of my dogs, for lack of a better term, screaming. I jumped out of bed and ran into the yard, where my sister and one of my beagles were being attacked by her dog. My sister had curled around our dog and was being repeatedly bitten by the neighbor's dog. I tackled the neighbor's dog and proceeded to grab the dog by her neck, force her to the ground by her neck, and shove her head into the ground while practically sitting on the dog to control her. The neighbor finally got her dog inside. The results were that my dog had a huge chunk ripped out of her throat, multiple rips in both ears, 6 broken teeth on her bottom jaw, a shattered front paw and broken arm, and multiple bites to her face and rib cage. My dog needed all her broken teeth removed, pins in her arm and paw, dozens of stitches, and a skin graft to close the hole in her neck. My sister needed 38 stitches from the bites she received. I ended up with 29 stitches from the bites I received. And all 3 of us are on a plethora of antibiotics and follow-up care, including rabies shots for my sister and me because her dog had no current shots. Those shots are not pleasant in any way. Our combined medical and vet bills are $29,000, with all of us still needing follow-up visits over the next few months. She's refusing to pay anything at all and claims she's not at fault because our yard isn't fenced. She's also claiming she's going to sue us because apparently I broke 2 of her dog's ribs when I tackled her to the ground. I cleared out my savings account of $3,500 to make the basic payments to save my dog's life, and I don't have any more money to hire a lawyer. We can hardly afford the co-pays on our insurance to get our rabies treatments and prescriptions filled. I filed to get an advance on my pay, but it can take up to 2 weeks to go through, and I was served with a court summons today for injuries to her dog and her pain and suffering from the trauma of her hurt pet. The claim also states that I intentionally caused harm to her pet and used unnecessary force to subdue her pet. I'm a 4'10" female, and my sister is a 4'8" female. Her dog is almost as big as I am. I really don't know where to start on how to deal with this. I feel like we have a solid case due to the videos and the paperwork from the HOA, which was the first time she tried to blame us. I also have messages that span her time as our neighbor via the Nextdoor app where she admits to walking her pets off leash, and her refusal to stop because it's her house. How in the world can I fight this without being able to pay a lawyer's fee upfront? TLDR, a neighbor's aggressive dog attacked my dog, my sister, and me, causing insane medical bills and months of follow-up care, and now I'm being sued. I work 3 jobs, and after basic medical bills, I can't afford a lawyer yet. Not to mention my hand is so chewed up and swollen that I'm not cleared to go back to work at any of my jobs until I get stitches out and get motion in my hand back, which will cause more income issues once my vacation days run out. First update. Thank you all so much for the advice. We're feeling much more hopeful, and I feel like I can actually sleep tonight. You're all wonderful, kind internet strangers, and we appreciate you all. Update after filling a police report. My sister and I went to the police station this morning. The officer suggested we each file our own reports for multiple reasons. with one being that my sister wasn't involved in the first attack and we each technically own one dog even though we share expenses. One dog I bought from a rescue is property in my name, and the attacked dog was bought under my sister's name. The video evidence was used for both reports, but the messages were used for mine only since they came from my account. The officer called animal control and viewed it as a good use of their weekend emergency service because the neighbor did not or could not provide proof of a rabies shot, which is viewed as a public health risk, and no one can confirm the dog's violence isn't attributed to that. That's probably not the case, but city law requires all dogs within city limits to be registered with the city and up to date on all shots. He suggested that we take our dogs and cars and leave the neighborhood between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m., or until we receive a follow-up call from animal control. He also suggested we call our homeowner's insurance after we are done at the station and have a police report to give them. The police took photos of our injuries and said we needed to take pictures of our dog once we got home. We already took photos of ourselves and our dog last night after reading through the comments on here, but they wanted their own to file with the report. We asked about getting a protection or restraining order, but he said it would be very hard to do because we'd have the burden of proof showing that she maliciously and intentionally used her dog to harm us or prove a history of stalking us. My boyfriend went out this morning and bought 2 cameras and a stack of SD cards. He has one set up to look out over our backyard and one looking out to where we park our cars and the front porch. This lady is still letting her dogs run out free after the attack, and we can get that on video. My sister, dogs, and I are going to spend the night at my boyfriend's house tonight just so we can stay clear of the crazy neighbor. We called our insurance company and are giving them all the reports, bills, evidence, etc. They're sending an agent out tomorrow afternoon to take video and pictures of both yards. And they gave us a list of local law firms that specialize in personal injury and property damage cases and will work in conjunction with whatever lawyer we go with. One thing the insurance company pointed out is that they don't see any law firm named in my summons and think she may have filed and be representing herself. They also said the roommate texting us all week saying they'd pay for everything could be viewed as their admission of fault, but a lawyer would be able to confirm that. We did message most of the neighbors on our row, and a few of them have had bad experiences and are willing to write statements. The kicker is that the family directly behind us has a teenage son who took a video on his phone of the big attack. The neighbor dog had tried to attack her son's cat while he was on the back porch once, and her son heard the yelling and whipped out his phone. I haven't seen it yet, but his mother said they'll gladly turn it over to our lawyer and write statements. We're going to be busy this week and have a lot to do to get everything together, but it seems like we have a very solid case. Thank you so much for all of your advice and time. You guys are incredible. I'll continue to update or do an update thread when we have talked to a lawyer. Final update. My sister and I spent the weekend researching local lawyers that were suggested by our insurance and found 3 we wanted to contact. The guy we went with is amazing and more vicious than the neighbor's dog. He is also willing to take payment after a judgment or settlement, and has offered us a lower percentage than what we have researched is the norm. Ends up his son had been attacked by an off-leash dog once, and he feels very strongly that irresponsible dog owners understand the repercussions of their actions, and that the neighbor is a threat, and this needs to be handled quickly. The neighbor's dog has been put down. She was deemed uncontrollable and not able to be rehabbed. We've seen the nice dog over the last few days with the roommate, so she must have paid the fines to get her back. Our lawyer responded to her case against me and confirmed we'd be meeting them in small claims court. She was also served with 2 separate lawsuits. One from myself with my medical costs, including estimated long-term costs, rehab costs, lost work or vacation days, pain and suffering, and destruction of property. I'll explain the destruction of property shortly. One for my sister, including estimated long-term medical costs, lost work or vacation days, property damage, and pain and suffering. Her lawsuit against me has a court date of March 5th. After she was served with our lawsuits, she apparently desperately tried dropping the case against me, but the prosecutor denied her request. She then tried contacting our lawyer multiple times to ask him to get the prosecutor to drop the case. He informed her that wasn't something he had control of and we'd still be moving forward with the 2 lawsuits against her. She finally got herself a lawyer, and our lawyer was contacted with settlement offers that, in his term, were laughable, and we refused the settlement offers. Our lawyer used past cases of dog attacks in NC where settlements of over $800,000 were paid out, and that involved cases where the dog owners actually tried to stop the attack. Now for some extra facts. My left wrist is going to need surgery that's scheduled to take place on February 27. Our dog had the drain removed from her neck, and her skin graft is healing up nicely, but she's still in a cast with pins in her paw. The vet thinks she'll have a limp but will recover with no other long-lasting injuries. She still refuses to go out the back door anymore and will cry and plant if we try. The destruction of property in my claim comes from those cameras my boyfriend installed. The day after her dog was put down, she literally took a baseball bat to everything in our front and backyards. She broke our porch railing, smashed all our flower pots, bent my hammock's metal base, and used some kind of utility knife to slice up the hammock, tore the plants out of the ground in our garden, dumped some sort of substance that had a jelly-like consistency into our koi pond, ending all the fish, and broke various other things in our yard. She straight up went on a rampage that was all caught on camera. She also left 2 notes on our door. One threatened to shoot our dogs and said that she'd have someone beat us up. We called the cops immediately, and they took it seriously. They asked if we wanted to press charges, and we did. Our lawyer used the notes and camera footage to get an emergency protection order for us, and we haven't seen her since, though we see her car come and go. The video of the attack that the other neighbor's son took was a pure godsend. It shows how she just sat there and did nothing to try to stop the attack. It also shows her audibly laughing during it. She only started trying to help when I started smashing her dog into the ground. We also got statements from multiple neighbors, and our lawyer is working on getting multiple complaints from other families from the HOA. He said it's pointless to go after the HOA, and we wouldn't get worthwhile results from them. Our lawyer did tell us that the HOA has started the eviction process against the neighbors, but that could take a long time and be contested. There was also a memo sent out to the neighborhood about leash rules, that there will be an upcoming vote about possibly muzzling dogs if they're in common areas outside of our private property, and other new neighborhood rules concerning pets. I honestly can't tell if this lady had some sort of mental breakdown or is just plain crazy. Either way, my sister and I both have our separate court dates against her in mid and end March. Thank you all so much for your advice and guidance. You guys not only gave us the knowledge but also the confidence to fight this, and we were both so grateful to you all. I'll be sure to update after the court dates and keep you guys up to date. Please feel free to ask any questions, and I'll answer whatever I can. Comments from OOP about the case potentially not getting them much monetary compensation. Even if we don't get much of anything, maybe it'll at least make her stop and think more clearly in the future. About the aggressive dog. Thank you. I do feel bad that her dog was put down. I still feel like it's not the dog's fault that her owner never trained her, but she was dangerous. Thank you for watching the video.